This is basically about sending out phishing emails to your coworkers. We've actually we did this last year. It was pretty fun. The whole goal is to see who clicks on the link, who logs in, and the results were better than expected. So this is going to be a little more technical than some of the other presentations. I've got some code in here, but I'll try to kind of give you the gist of it. Please hold all questions until the end, because I have a lot of slides and I don't know how I'm going to get through all of them. So, disclaimer, pretty much don't try this out until you know it's legal wherever you're at. So, and I actually will have this online. If you go to this right now, it'll just link you directly to the presentation. So if this doesn't come up, if the QR code doesn't come up, I've got a better one at the end of the presentation.
That's not a test, is it?
No, this is not weaponized. So, which is funny you say that, because every time I send out email to anyone at work with a link in it, I swear no one clicks on my links anymore. So
You're doing it right.
yeah, apparently. So, all right. So a little bit about myself. I'm currently a security engineer on the cyber defense team. I've got about 7 years of professional email experience. I've been the email guy ever since I've been at this company, and I'm still the email guy, even though that was probably 3 or 4 jobs ago. So. Yeah, freelance IT in the past, help desk programmer, Linux admin, Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2006. You can look it up, seriously. Yeah, I'm into a little bit of everything: programming, microcontrollers, horticulture. I'm actually doing the Eat the Weeds thing later on today at 1 o'clock. So, so what is phishing? You all pretty much know what phishing is. It's the attempt to acquire sensitive information from someone. It usually has a sense of urgency. It usually has a link. When we're strictly talking about email phishing, we actually do have some people at work who report phishing emails while they're actually just spam. So, but you know, you're a smart crowd. You guys. If you wouldn't be here if you didn't know what phishing was. So, the threats, obviously, your information can be leaked. Your company can actually be used for in a DDoS attempt. If you have a lot of bandwidth, if someone got into your network, they can use your pipe. So, it's a huge thing. Pretty much, if someone gets into your employee's credentials, they can act as though they're the employee. And a lot of employees can do a lot of stuff. So it just goes back to the whole security realm in the first place. You want to give people least, you know, the least amount of access that you can in the first place. So, and things aren't always what they seem. Here's a picture of me. Little story here. Things aren't always what they seem.
You're copying my vacation photos technique.
Yeah. I kind of wish I actually did go there, but. So why should we phish them? No matter how many technical controls you have, your employees are your biggest threat. It does not matter how much money you throw at it. You need to educate your employees on phishing. I mean, honestly, you guys know virus scanners, firewalls, all of that stuff. Things get through. There are new threats all the time. You can't plan for everything. So basically, yeah, you need to educate your employees before the bad guy does, and it will happen if you do not. So. A little bit about phishing versus spam. Hey John, can you send me the account details for the deal we just signed? So I get things like this reported to me all the time. It's not uncommon. And then this is just spam. This is actually some spam that someone sent to us saying, hey, this is phishing. It's not really. They're trying to sell you something. If there's a phone number, if it's a local, we've been seeing a lot of this lately. There are a lot of these local conferences where you call a phone number to get more info. Honestly, it's probably just spam. If they don't ask for specific information from you in the actual email, then either they're a really bad phisher or, yep.
Actually, they could be phishing to get information over the phone.
And they could. It's just, it's not, to me, I don't see it as an immediate threat.
It's more likely to be a personal attack than a corporate one at that point.
And they definitely could get information from you. I get phone calls, heck, weekly now. People call me and say, what's your title? Is this your email address? Yeah, my email address is out there. My title, I just tell them I'm an engineer. I don't want them to know anything more about me that they can't find online, basically. But it's on LinkedIn. So this is kind of how it went down. So we did this for a company. I can't tell you which company, but basically I sent out and this was on a Tuesday, I believe. Timing is important. You do not want to send it out late on a Friday because, well, people aren't checking their email. So early on a Monday might not be the best either. Well, actually, it could be, but you basically want to make sure that most of your employees are, when they're most active. So I'm like, 1:06 p.m. All right. So pretty much we sent it out at 1:06. 10 minutes later, 13% of the employees have clicked on the link, and 5% by this time have already tried logging in with their actual credentials. Now, I wasn't expecting results this quickly, but it happened. A little while later, 1:45, people actually started reporting the link, and we kind of kept this on wraps. There was an escalation coordinator that was involved that informed the whole company about this, and they're like, we're looking into this. They didn't even know what I was doing, so luckily the CEO did. So what I was doing at this point, it was really exciting. I was just tailing the logs. It was, honestly, it was one of the greatest moments in my job. It was in my whole career. It was awesome. So, and then it gets kind of bad. So, I forgot to tell my DNS provider and my VPS provider about it. They pretty much my DNS provider blackholed my domains. They're like, hey, someone reported this. This looks very suspicious. My VPS provider actually shut me down. Well, they were talking about shutting me down. They didn't shut me down, but not having my DNS name pointing towards, pointing towards IP address, it was game over for me. And then I found out the VPS provider actually included the actual email of who reported me. I actually emailed that guy back and I was like, hey, just so you know, this is what I'm doing. Can you please email them back and tell them to re-enable my stuff?
Seems legit,
yeah. So, and this company actually, they have overseas support too, so I was hoping to get them, didn't get any of them. Or maybe I've gotten one or two, but my phishing site was down all night, unfortunately. So, so you can guess, you probably want to tell the providers before you do this. And they told me, they said, hey, if you told us about this before, we would have been cool. So it's just something I forgot. It was the first time I've done this, so, but the results, we'll get to the results. So yeah, my domain was unlocked the next day, didn't get very many clicks after that. People stopped clicking the link around 5 p.m. the next day, and pretty much everyone hated me.
Just one thing, we've done a variation of this. When you have people reporting it via Amazon, when you have people reporting that, the hosting provider, Amazon is spamming them. That's how they interpreted it. And so they didn't report it to Amazon, they reported it to a blacklist. Which blacklisted the particular Amazon IP
Yeah,
based off spam.
and
That was cute.
yeah, it didn't go that far. Basically what I tried doing this time, I just sent it out to everybody at one time.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that so people didn't have time to react. So
In this case, it was a third party, like you
Yeah.
paid someone and they used Amazon, and then our people ended up reporting Amazon as spamming them. And
Right.
I thought it was just a funny
And
sequence.
things like that can happen. If
Yeah.
I let this go any longer, I'm sure that would have happened too. Been put on an RBL or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, here are the statistics. So 12%, only 12% reported it. 18% actually clicked on it, and 9% tried logging in with their actual credentials. Well, I'd say about 9%. Some people actually knew what was going on and tried to see what would happen if they just typed in gibberish. So the logs were kind of interesting. So basically how it works, you send out the email. The user clicks the email that goes to the page. So this is actually a homoglyph. If you can see example, there's actually a small dot right above the E. So you could actually say Google with a small little dot above the E or whatnot. The user will see, if the user doesn't see that little dot, they just don't know until they hover their cursor over the link, in which they will see this puny code. They'll actually see the puny code in the lower left. It's a security feature within browsers nowadays. So I did this a little differently. The code I put together, it only took me a couple hours, so I made it pretty rudimentary. I had an intermediary page that actually logged who clicked on it, and it cross-referenced the actual URL to their actual name. So, and then what it immediately did after that, so you don't see the puny code in the location bar, I actually have another domain that's very similar without a puny code, just missing a letter. So then it redirects to that website. So basically, the user sees a professional looking website. What I did was I actually copied a website we actually host. I changed some stuff on the back end. So it looked legit, people have seen it before. Then we log the user's input, and the user gets scorned after they try logging in. So for the prep, basically, as I said, you want to contact everybody before you do this, everyone who's hosting your stuff. You want to get a list of email addresses. Basically, if they have Outlook, you can go, it depends on how it's set up. If you can get your hands on email addresses with names, that's beneficial because then you have their first name. And you can make it more personal, the email you send out. So test it a lot. Don't test it with real data. Test sending to yourself. And don't overdo it. If you test this too much, then the company's spam filter might actually start picking it up, and you're done before you even started. So try testing, sending it to yourself locally. And you do want to test it from the IP you're sending it from eventually. But just like I said, don't overdo it. So back to things I didn't consider. Yeah, contact your DNS and VPS provider. Whoever hosts your internet service. I actually did it from home, and at the time I was on Uverse. You might actually have issues. I know there are some ISPs that are blocking outbound port 25 now, so your mileage may vary. If you can find a relay you can send it through, that works too, but your home internet provider might not allow you. So. So you might actually have better results with smaller providers as far as your domains and your VPS goes. Amazon, if I sent this from Amazon, I probably would have had larger issues. Postfix. set it up. It's not hard to do. I'm a Linux geek, so I just set it up. It's literally yum install postfix, and the default install will work. It's just, you know, so you have a local local mailer that you could, you know, point your code to. So VPS, these are actually virtual servers. Virtual servers are cheap nowadays. Example, 2-core, 60 gig drive, 1 gig of RAM, 64-bit box, $68 a year, which is dirt cheap. Something like this 10 years ago, it would have probably been at least $100 a month. So, I actually highly recommend going to lowendbox.com. Great website for finding the newest deals out there. Personally, I really like RamNode for VPS. DigitalOcean is pretty good, but RamNode is really cheap. DNS homoglyphs. So this is going back to those domains with Unicode characters. There's actually a homoglyph attack generator, which actually, if I'm on the internet, I can show you. If I'm on the internet. Come on. And maybe not. So anyway, how it works is you put a domain name in, and it'll actually help you create a domain name that looks similar. It'll put in different Unicode characters. You can select which characters you want to change and whatnot. It'll show you the puny code. If you notice, there's a little dot above the E in Google. Again, the text inline in the HTML will show in the actual email message. People notice homoglyphs, and registering a domain with Unicode characters can be challenging. I tried picking up a few other domains and it just wasn't working. I believe if the Unicode characters have to correlate with the language you say you're registering the domain in, if that makes any sense. Like, so if you have a Russian character and you say it's German, they won't let you register it. So I might not be 100% on that. I don't know a lot about homoglyphs yet, but it may, like I said, it may be challenging. And some DNS providers won't even let you register them, I believe. So, sending out email from a domain with a homoglyph is more challenging. So say I wanted to send an email from google.com with a little dot above the E. I have not gotten that to work yet. It's something I'm working on. You actually have to compile postfix with a certain flag for that to work. And Python, you actually have to compile, I believe, the newest version of Python with something in that. And as it says, Python needs some kind of goat sacrifice to send from a Unicode address. So I got the postfix part working. Sending from a homoglyph email address in Python is challenging. So something I'm working on.
Have you tried some of the relay services like Mailhop?
I haven't actually. But yeah, I may in the future.
You tried sacrificing chickens instead of goats.
I could try that, yeah. They're cheaper too, so. So for DNS, I prefer Namecheap. $10.69 a year. Actually, there are usually codes out there where you get like a 10% discount or something. So don't be stingy. Don't wait for your company to reimburse you or give you money for it. It's like $10, $11. Just do it. Don't register a domain that's too similar to a company you have no control over or a company you're not affiliated with. For example, if I were to register a domain that's similar to Google, I don't want Google sending me a letter trying to sue me. So, or giving me a cease and desist or anything, and then I'd have to surrender the domain to them. SPF records, if you're gonna do it right. Do not try sending up an SPF record if you don't know what you're doing, because more than likely, I mean, you could set it up wrong and your stuff just won't go through. So if there's so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about SPF. So in some some networks may allow you to send from the actual domain of the company if you're on that network, depending on how their email environment is set up. It's not the safest thing, but it happens. If you actually do want to send from your customer's domain, that's a good way to try it out. Yeah, so I actually have this domain generator. Some domains are not safe for work. It's just something I've been working on. I've got currently over 800,000 domains that are available. It just takes words, smashes them together, and it tells you if they're available. So, and like I said, this will be available online after. So if you don't get anything, you can. I'll give you a link. As far as HTTPS goes, do it. It's free now. Use Let's Encrypt. I set it up in less than 10 minutes. If the users see that little green lock in the upper left corner, they're more likely to actually try logging in because they think it's a safe website. It just means it's encrypted. You should probably do it anyway. So this, I think, is part of the success of this. When they see that little green lock, it's awesome. They're like, oh, this is legit. I don't see any errors. Let me do it. So, and I'm not going to go into this. There's great documentation online. Like I said, I set it up in less than 10 minutes. Never used it before. So, email process. Yeah, okay. Get all the email addresses. Create a CSV with all the email addresses. Go through, iterate through the CSV and create a unique identifier for each user, for each email address. This is so that you can create a link that's unique to that person. So when they click on it, you know who clicked on it. Email every person with that uniquely crafted URL. Sit back and tail the logs. So developing the script. So this is kind of what the CSV looked like. I actually had their actual name, and then I had their email address. Like I said, this is online. Did some bash kung fu to actually create the. I originally used MD5 sum, and I just hashed their email address. I decided, let's make it more random. And then I used APG to actually make a completely random string. And then I spit that out to another CSV with, and then this is pretty much the result, their name, their email address, and then a random hash. That will be included in the URL in the email. So the phishing script, hopefully you can read that. It's very basic. It takes their name, it takes their email address, and it takes the hash. I sent it from like support at blah blah blah. Subject test, account locked out. So the one I sent out, it said your account's locked out. Oh, well that's kind of weird. Let me unlock it. People don't like being locked out of stuff, even if they don't know what it is. I don't know why. So
on a variation of that note, one of the best phishing things I've encountered is, you mentioned Outlook too, is somebody goes and sends an email and say, this email has been retracted.
Yes.
And then they click on the, and it's like,
and then they're curious to
results.
see. Yeah, and they're curious to see what it is.
Boom.
Right.
Oh,
That's on our list of things to try out.
Oh yeah. Do
So,
that, trust me.
yeah. So, and I'm, yeah, I've done that too. Like, I wonder what that was. So, so basically, when I send out the email, there's actually just a straight up text version of it. Pretty much, your account's been locked out. Here's the puny code up here, example.com with the little dot. And then take the footer, the standard footer from that company, use a variation of it. You want it to be about the same length. You want to keep the first and the last lines kind of similar so they don't really notice. So I'll show you what the, I'll get into that a little more. And then here's the HTML. You actually have an actual link they can click on. So hopefully they'll get the HTML version because it's easier. They're more likely to actually try to go into the website. Okay, and then this is just the end of the script. It's attaching the plain text, the HTML, and then it's just sending it to my local host. It's sending it to local postfix. And at the end, it's quitting. So this is all Python. To send out the email. So how I actually sent it out, I was gonna do a bash loop. For some reason, it was not working. To this day, do not know why. But pretty much, you just send email, like I said before, their name, their email address, the hash. It does all the rest of the work. It creates the link with a unique hash. So, what I did was I actually created a bash script to create a bash script. So it happens, I had to do it. And what I actually did, what this doesn't show, is I actually put a sleep in there of 0.3 seconds so that there was a delay when it sent each one, so it didn't try sending it all out at once. And that'll make it's least likely to get caught by a spam filter if you have if you actually have a delay in between sending each email. So what the user pretty much saw when they got the email, this is pretty much what it looked like. I did change some things. Thank you, COG support, there's the link. So here's what the user did not see, and I think some of you caught it already at the end of the email message. May contain information that is confidential or privileged. This is a simulated phishing attempt and will not harm your computer. If you're reading the entirety of this message, good job. Please do not click the link as the event will be logged. You saw the statistics of how many people clicked the link. Obviously, they weren't reading this. And it's just because you get used to that footer in the email message, no one reads it.
Right.
So actually the CEO called up one of our guys and he's like, hey, what's going on with this? And our guy's like, read the end of the email. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And then he starts reading it, he's like, oh, good job. He couldn't be mad at us after that, so. And obviously you don't need to do that, it's just something we put in, because this was kind of a trial run. So website process, find a URL, the company host, or you can actually, obviously you can copy a vendor too, but like I said, be careful if you're copying a vendor because you don't want them coming after you if they get wind of it. Make a local copy of the website. What I did was I wgetted the website. I found that not all the content was there, so I actually went into Chrome and I actually saved the website, so I got some more files there. And then after going to it locally, it all worked. So modify all the URLs to point to your own. Do not link to the original website. Don't link to, I mean, just don't do it. Don't link to pictures because then stuff is going to show up in those logs and if you have a seam tool or whatnot, people are going to get suspicious. So disable the password field from sending a password. This is basically so if people do put their password in, it's not being transmitted and it's you don't have their password. You don't have to tell people to actually reset it. Less responsibility on your side. Just disable it because you don't need it. I mean, you really don't. Point the form to the script you're going to write to capture the data. So you can do this different ways. You can actually have the login form capture the data itself. It just depends on how you want to do it. And then write the script to log who actually tried logging in and scoring the user. And at the same time, I guess this is kind of a parallel process. You want to make a page that redirects your newly modified copy site while logging who clicked the link. So here's my wrapper page of when people click the link, this is the code that executed first. Basically what it does is it logs who clicked it, and then it shows an email template or an HTML template, which open index HTML template. That's pretty much all this does. It literally just logs and redirects, or logs it and then spits out HTML of the actual login page. And then this is what the log looks like. I've got, I've got the date, time, the referral URL, no, that's just a reference to the page, and then a referral URL. Most of them don't actually have it. These you can't see very well, but they're actually logs from when a support ticket was opened up with my VPS provider. They actually clicked the link. So that's what these down here are, is, hey, it's coming from that ticket, and it was kind of funny to look at. But this script in particular will cross-reference their actual name with the hash, and it will actually put their name in there. So that was kind of cool, how that was set up. I should have done it with the other logging mechanism for when they logged in, but I just kind of ran out of time and just didn't get to it yet. So the index, the template that it actually shows, it's just a login. It's the website that I copied for the login page. And this is just showing you value equals quote unquote for the password form. You don't want them, like I said, you don't want to transmit the password. So the intermediary page for after they tried logging in, and as I said, you can do this differently. It's pretty much the same thing. It logs who tried logging in, and then it sends them to this URL /fished. And we will see what that looks like in a little bit. Wow, you really can't read this. So it's pretty much like the last log, except instead of their name, it actually just shows their email address. So like I said, if I had a little more time, I would actually correlate it to their actual name. So, just so it's a little prettier. So this is what the login page pretty much looked like. It looked very similar to this. Nothing too fancy, honestly. Unassuming. And this is what they saw after they tried logging in. So basically they got scorned. This was a phishing attempt. I had the animated GIF and the whole 9 yards. It was pretty funny. So, and below this, I actually do have a link, but internet's not working for me right now. I had a few indications that you have to look for in phishing emails. So it's a little lesson to the user about what to look for next time. So, and actually this does show a little bit of it. The sender email address, look at the sender email address, the URL, the link, the URL, and the location in the browser. So in the lower left, you have to look at that URL before you click on links. Words of urgency in the message, you usually want to put some urgency within the message so people feel like, oh, I need to do this now. It kind of lets people's guard down a little bit. And also check to see if the URL changes in the location bar after you click a link. That's not really easy to do. You can be redirected to another website like instantly, so sometimes you can't catch it. On slower computers, you're more likely to. Yep.
Do you think the statistic was skewed because once people seen it, they couldn't help but go share it with some, you gotta click this link?
That did happen too.
Okay.
There were people going around the office like, you have to log in.
Yeah.
So, I noticed those ones in the log later on in the day.
Okay.
So, yeah. But for the most part, people just took screenshots and sent them to other people. So, what a random winner one was a tinfoil hat. It was probably actually aluminum because we're cheap. But yeah, so I believe there may have been like a cash card or something, and an actual prize in there too. So what a random culprit one. Assuming Phish. So there's a little story to this. We actually selected someone who was actually doing an LDAP change right before he got this email, literally seconds before he got the email. So I kind of felt bad for him. He thought he broke something, so he tried logging in to see if it worked. So, but it happens. So other considerations. Wow, I'm doing good on time. Send it out during normal email out or during normal work hours. You can act as a vendor, but like I said, think twice about copying a real vendor's website because there could be legal issues. Try sending a secure email that requires your user to log in. So some of you may have seen those emails where, oh, here's a secure message. To read it, log in here. Some people will actually try logging in with their LDAP creds or AD creds or whatever we're using for authentication. Skip the whole login page and just harvest email addresses. So what people don't realize is just clicking on the link, if you have that unique URL set up, just clicking on the link tells the attacker, hey, this is a real email address. It's used by spammers all the time. People don't realize this. I can tell this to people hundreds of times and they'll still click on them. So just clicking on the, and actually if you want to, if you actually want to research spam or phishing email that comes in, take that URL and if there's like a unique blob at the end, take it out or type in other characters, see what the page is trying to do. They probably won't know who you are. So, let's see, target specific departments with tailored messages. So HR department, hey, try sending them something about some HR software, you know, or an update to something that they use.
Resumes.
You know, what's that?
Resumes.
Resumes, that is a very good idea. So, hey, click here for, you know, for my updated resume or whatnot. Sending slower randomly and from different IPs and from different blocks may be more ideal. This just goes back to your spam prevention system because obviously, hey, we're getting all this spam from this one IP address, block the address, game over. Sending randomly and slower. I mean, you guys know why. You have to, if you send too quickly, then it's going to get rate limited, or it's just going to start getting blocked, or gray listed, or even blacklisted. So just don't send too quickly, especially if you have a lot of users. With this example, we didn't have too many. There were less than 1,000, so it didn't really, I wasn't too concerned. If you have thousands or hundreds of thousands especially, you're gonna want different IP addresses and you're gonna want to do it randomly. Fonts are important with homoglyphs, so that going back to, you know, that example.com with a little dot above the E, some fonts will hide that little dot a little better than others. Cross-site scripting, sure. You could get into some legal troubles with that, so I just didn't do it. But it is a thing. Especially if you find a website that the company hosts that has a cross-site scripting vulnerability, you could probably tell them, hey, we're gonna do this thing with your website. You might get better results, but let them know if you're gonna do it. And hiding flags for capture the flag game. So we actually, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Merit Networks. They do these capture the flag games. You have to find these flags. They're just semi-random strings that you have to find in code and whatnot. So, oh wow, that is something else.
That was a very short password.
It was. I don't use it for work. I put a password on here so my coworkers don't log in and, you know, change my Facebook picture and stuff like that. So, so yeah, you can hide flags in the in the actual email headers. You can hide them in the web pages, the login page, whatnot. If people are curious, if they're security minded, they will probably find those flags. What I want to eventually do is set up some kind of capture the flag portal so you can actually take these strings, you can collect points, it's a fun game. People are out looking for flags throughout the company, and possibly, you get some kind of bonus points. So, or, you get a little prize at the end. So, that's pretty much all there is to it. So, Q&A, and so I'll do the Q&A, and I'll keep this up right now if you guys want a link to the presentation. So, any questions? Hopefully, so, and actually, I almost forgot to mention, there is a company that does this. They're called Phish. I haven't actually demoed their product, but this is like literally all they sell is you tell them, hey, I want you guys to send out a phishing email or report back to us the statistics. I think it might be an in-house product that you bring in and host, or I'm not entirely sure. It's expensive. If you guys do it this way, you're saving thousands of dollars. It's not very elaborate yet, but you could obviously make it more usable in the future. So, yep.
So for people that tried to log in, they got some basic information on how to avoid this in the future.
Correct.
Do you have plans to go back and do it again and find out if you've actually changed the behavior?
Yeah, that would.
Compare the success rates of the first pass, the second secret training had the desired.
So, and yeah, it's, we're planning on doing it. We actually want to start doing it on a semi-scheduled, at least twice a year, probably more often than that actually in the future. So yeah, we're planning on it, and we're going to do exactly that. I just want to change up the URLs a bit, change the message obviously. Buy a few more domains. So, but yeah, that's the plan. Because I'd love to see those numbers go down. I hope they go down.
If you change your approach on the second pass, does it kind of mess with your ability to say, well, compare A to B?
It kind of does. I could see that. But if you make it similar enough, I mean, shoot. Well, yeah, I would want to change it enough so people don't realize it's the same thing, but I would probably keep the same footer in there because that'd be hilarious if people still didn't read that and they tried logging in.
Right.
So
yeah, are there just general principles you're trying to get everybody to understand that would apply to any kind of attempt, or do you have some
So this
archetypes?
is specifically for email phishing. We do call up users randomly and try to get information from them too. We're going to be doing other things like dropping USB drives around the office, maybe putting random boxes around hiding random boxes around the place with connected into the wall through Ethernet and stuff like that. Or hey, this weird looking thing has an antenna. What the hell is it doing here? And we want people to report those too. So if you make it a game, the important part is make it a game for your users, and they will participate, and they will have fun, and they will be safer. You want them to report this stuff. So, yep.
Have you seen companies doing this inside, internally?
I've actually talking to some people here at Penguicon. I hear that there are other companies doing this too. It's becoming a thing. It hasn't been so much in the past, but especially last year, security is becoming a huge thing. And there are certainly companies out there that aren't doing this, but I think they'll eventually catch on. It should just be part of normal security practices, like pretty much anywhere with IT. So
With a computer.
Right, anywhere with a computer, which is pretty much every business, or most businesses at least. So, but yeah, it's it was fun. Try it out. You will have a blast watching those logs. And unfortunately, it is scary to see how many people, what the hell is going on? I am not going to leave my computer around at Penguicon
Yeah.
unattended anymore.
Sure, exactly.
So, any more questions, or anyone have any more ideas for how to do this?
I guess I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about the USB thing. Like
Mhm.
you know, like you see a flash drive around the office, it would be really nice to plug it in and return it.
Yeah.
And I've done that. If you've done that before, we're at like B-sides once, and we plugged in an SD card, and like the guy just lost all his videos, and we were able to return it to him. We could also throw
And
it
I
in the
get
trash.
that, and that's the thing about people are nice, you know. People
That's
want to
the
do the right
weakness.
thing. What's that?
That's their weakness.
That's the weakness. And the problem is, especially with thumb drives, is you can weaponize a thumb drive. You can make it act as a keyboard. It can go type in a bunch of stuff, install malware. It can you can
Because
do
it
a lot
can-
of stuff.
My understanding about the USB problem is that can configure itself to be a keyboard. Is that really the only exploit in it?
No, it can do that. There's someone actually weaponized one that'll actually fry your computer too by overvoltage or whatnot. I believe it has a capacitor.
That would just destroy it. It wouldn't actually get data.
Right, that, yeah. But the keyboard one is the main thing. Back in the day when auto run was a thing, well, it still is. Yeah, the thing years ago was, hey, let me put malware on it and make it auto run when the user plugs it in. Not as much of an issue anymore. The keyboard thing is, it's actually called a rubber ducky for those of you who aren't familiar. So it's pretty much just, it uses the same, well, I think it's a 32-bit processor now, but it uses pretty much the same chip as as an Arduino, I believe. So you can do the same thing with a Teensy Duino, which is what I like using. Teensy Duino, no, Teensy. It's called Teensy, and they've got Teensy++. They're just small little devices. And they're actually one of the first devices out there to actually have built-in support as acting as an HID device, as a keyboard or mouse. So yeah.
So,
Sorry.
real quick, like, is there any work being done to like resolve this security hole? Like, I mean, do you think that like you'd have to like use your existing keyboard to enable a new keyboard that you've plugged in or something like that? Like, it's really, I tried to like disable it in Linux. I couldn't figure out an easy way to do so.
It's not easy to do, honestly. Personally, I don't know how to do it. I've never looked into how to disable it from automatically picking up and acting as a keyboard or mouse. So, but yep.
Kind of to answer this question, if you look up bad USB, you'll find all the hacks, because the USB gets DMA access. That's one of the reasons it makes it dangerous.
Oh, really?
And it's a fundamental flaw of the design. There's not like a fix for it, because if you use one keyboard to enable another keyboard, how'd you get the first keyboard enabled?
Right.
Well, I mean, it would have to like be, you'd have to allow the first one during
Yeah.
installation or something like that.
What a lot of corporate you do is they literally physically unhook the USBs from the computers, where they'll plug the holes in the back. They make sure people can't get to them. That's their workaround.
Was that the problem?
You could disable the USB ports in the BIOS a lot of times.
Some of them support in the BIOS on the corporate machines.
Yeah.
But wasn't the problem with FireWire that it had direct memory access in the specification?
But both of them do.
So I didn't realize USB did. That's quite scary. I'm surprised that.
Well, it needs to get that direct access. That way it doesn't tie up the processor for typing your keyboard. That way you can directly interface with it.
Yeah, but then it bypasses all security.
All security goes out the window when you have physical access.
Yeah, physical access. It's a whole nother topic.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I would. Yeah, it's we're not like I said, we're not doing it yet, but we're gonna start dropping stuff around the office. So.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, really, if you're doing it right, then theoretically an intruder shouldn't be able to get into your office to drop off
That's
that
true.
USB.
That's true.
Well,
Yeah.
Put them in the parking lot.
and maybe someone knows
Oh, that's-
otherwise.
yeah.
I think it's theorized. Stuxnet, when it hit the Iranian reactors,
Yeah.
the theory was it was a USB stick in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was air gap. That was an air gap number.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. I'm about out of time. If anyone wants, I've got ribbons left. If anyone wants.